All right. Awesome. Okay, so welcome. This is week 4 of Introduction to Leadership and Public Speaking. Welcome everybody joining synchronously and asynchronously. As always, we usually start with a guest speaker. Our guest speaker had to cancel last minute, so I will be filling in a little bit, and then Christian, if you actually want to join in at any point, because we're talking about SGA today. So as guest speaker, then afterwards, no pressure. And then afterwards, we'll be going into our introduction to leadership component of this. And then we will break out into a few breakout session rooms. Just so that we can start, getting used to talking to people, being able to talk about the basics of like who we are, what's important to us, which can be a foundation of bigger speeches. Because it is public speaking when you are talking to people in a more, one-on-one or smaller group setting. So, and then we'll be finishing early just to give people time to practice bigger speeches for the next components. I'm gonna share my screen. Let's see. Okay, so to start out with, our guest speaker for today cannot make it due to a sudden change of scheduling. So talking about SGA, Student Government Association. Some of you may know student government, some of you are in student government, some of you have no idea what student government is. So as somebody who's also in student government, I'll be talking a little bit about, we have another person from student government coming right now into the room. So what is student government? So I'm curious, out of the 2 people on the call, 3 people that are in student government, do you want to talk a little bit about like what student government is to you and, basically the things that you're working on, why you joined student government? We could come back to you guys, just think about it while we talk about it. So student government essentially is, we are an organization within Lehman College where we are both employed by Lehman College and we are also students of Lehman College, and we share governance between students and faculty and staff of the college. So essentially, we can make decisions on how we want the college to run, and so forth. And so there's different branches of student government. There's executive board, there's senators. Senators hold a little bit more of like the policy making and whatnot of Lehman College, while executive board actually handles monies. So if you're in a club, the executive board actually can, help delegate some of the funding that you get for your clubs in order to help them run. Because the more that you feel engaged on campus, the more likely it is that you're going to succeed afterwards. It helps build these soft skills, but also more than that, it actually helps you feel at home on campus so that you're more engaged and you're more, you just stick through college essentially. So there's been some advocacy also through student government as well. If you want more information too, you could go to lehman.edu/sga. We're on Club Central, clubs.lehman.edu. In organizations, a lot of our events are on there. So we hold events. And part of the reason why we hold a lot of events is so that we want to get to know students. Like what are your struggles? What do you want to see happening on Lehman College campus? If you have issues with your classes, we can actually help direct you into actually solving those issues. So we're a good point person into actually being change, so that your college experience is better and nicer and more enjoyable. So we like to meet students at student events. We like to create programs. You can visit us. We're located in the Student Life Building, room 203. And we're open as long as the Student Life Building is open. We're open to hear anything like advocacy and whatnot. We also have an Instagram page if you guys want to join and follow us, Lehman SGA. And here you could see some of our events. We sponsored Leadership Retreat this last weekend. We sponsored Club Fair. Club Fair wouldn't be a thing if it weren't for SGA. You know, have a lot of all these picnic things in the back of the tables and the umbrellas that was sponsored, the benches that we SGA paid for. Some things that I've done in my advocacy was making open resources more available for students, because you know, college textbooks are expensive, and we could get free textbooks through our college, through the library. So not a lot of things that people know about, but you can advocate as students also for that. And so that's something that I was working on when I first joined. We did a land acknowledgement. Lehman College used to be a part of the Lenni Lenape land, Native American land. And so every time there's a ceremony, they read. We worked with Indigenous tribes to actually write that. Yeah, so just curious. Thank you, Christian, for putting in the chat. The website's always appreciate your help. Just curious, anybody that is signing in today, what are things off the top of your head of things that need addressing at Lehman College, or things that you want to see happen at Lehman College, or things that can make your college experience better? You could unmute or put in the chat. Or does anybody have any questions about SGA? Hi, Ibrahim.
Hi, Emily. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, so, just wanted to add to what Emily was saying. SGA does actually exist. You see somebody in the WhatsApp, the Lehman WhatsApp, responding to people's questions. I'm one of those people. Just basically making sure you get the right information regarding, services on campus that are available to you. And also, we advocate for you guys to, for better resources, and also, if you have any other issues relating to your academics, we are your point person, like Emily said. Somebody messaged this morning, asking about incomplete, and I remember I just finished a workshop yesterday, which is Sunday. Um, I had the opportunity to represent SGA again with the UMLP at the Edith Macy Center again. I know we just left there last week, but it was crazy because they needed someone, and I was like, okay, I'm SGA as well, so if you guys don't mind. So, and we just talked about that as well, incompletes and whatnot, a whole lot of stuff. So SGA, we are actually there for you guys. A lot of the events you see, like Club Fair, I think this year's was one of the biggest as well we had.
Yeah.
We funded that, So if you really need any assistance or just don't know, you know, where to go or what to look for, what type of information, we are your guys. Okay. Christian is there as well. You can holler at him. Myself, that's my picture right there. Let me switch my camera. Sorry. Hi,
Yay.
everyone. This is me. Yeah, so you might have seen me on campus. If you see me, feel free to stop me and, just say hi or just tell me, any question you have, and I'll be sure to follow up. I'm your student service officer. Christian is a senator, and together we make sure we get funding from, Lehman to put up advocate for better resources for you guys.
Thank you so much, Ibrahim, for jumping in because I was like, I'm pretty much done on my side. But since we're talking, what are some things, if you don't mind me asking you a few questions about your role? So what what is student services officer? What do you do and what's your favorite part of your job?
So the favorite part of my job, as the title says, service officer, right? I'm at your service 247, except for when I'm sleeping. But when I'm awake, I'm at your service. I make sure that you are directed to the appropriate service that you are looking for. I give you information that is sure to help you get the service that you need on campus.
Do you have a specific um case without like giving too much details of the case like that you have a lot of pride with, but like, yeah, I helped this person or I
Uh,
did this.
yeah, so not to divulge too much information because
Yes.
confidentiality and whatnot. I do have some students reach out to me regarding personal issues like, anxiety, stress, suicidal thoughts,
Mhm.
all these things are things that I don't joke with, and I make sure that I, try to direct them or point them to the service offices that would better help them. Students need laptops for work, academic works. I make sure I direct them. They need assistance with their accounts, trouble getting in, um, issues with Blackboard, Cunifers, I'm there as well. And so, if you, basically whatever the situation may be, I'm sure to, I'm confident that I can point you to the right office on campus that will get you the help you need.
Yes. Actually, now that you mention that too, Ibrahim also works at the help desk. And so do you want to talk a little bit about that as a side thing? Because that's been a question for a lot of people of like, IT issues and whatnot. So what's the best course of action with IT issues that you would say?
So best course of action. I know sometimes it gets busy. The desk is it's a 247 busy place, but you can always also reach me on the side, and I'll be more than happy to help you. Like I said, when I'm not sleeping, when I'm not asleep, I'll be there to make sure I help you the best possible way I can. Uh, the chatbot sometimes is me as well. So
Oh,
don't think
really?
it's AI that is there. It's me. I'm on the chat as well. Uh, in the WhatsApp group, you can also put in your information, and when I see it, I will reach out to you privately and assist you. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to like be confused and like, oh, I don't know what to do. I know it's college. Things get tough, I myself, I haven't been spared. I've had my fair share of, college troubles, but, we persevere and, we stay dedicated and consistent to, the, the tasks that we do, which is helping you guys navigate your college, easy as you move along. I wish I had more years to spend at Lehman, but unfortunately, I'm a senior now, and next semester might be my last. So,
Don't leave us.
but yeah, make use of me as much as you can. I'm readily available, friendly. O'Neill, I see you. A lot of you I see on campus, but yeah, if you see me, feel free to stop me and ask me whatever question you want to ask me. You know, like I said, I'm always happy to help.
Thank you, Abraham. I didn't know that was you on the chat bot. I would be like, is this you?
Oh wow, all this while.
All this time. Oh,
Uh,
Anil, do you have a question?
yeah, O'Neill, what's your
I want to
question?
say thank you, Ram, for your help you and be nice with everybody in Lehman. For you, Lehman is a very place. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
O'Neill. Thank you. Yeah, we're here for you. We're here for you.
I second that.
So I guess I go.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, feel free.
Hey everyone, my name is Christian Barra, and as Ibrahim and Emily just stated, I am a senator within the SGA, as which also is a part of SLA, Student Legislative Assembly. My experience with SGA, first of all, this is not my first experience with SGA. It's just at a different campus. So my experience with this SGA at Lehman, first I was hesitant to join. I decided to throw my name in the hat because I took a class with our Madam President Khadija Diallo. She's like, "Hey, why don't you try joining?" I'm like, "Uh, no, I don't want to."
Oh no.
But eventually, we all know Khadija is very persistent. I was
Yep.
like, "Yeah, I throw my name in the hat," and apparently I got voted in. I'm like, "Oh wow, here I go again." But ever since I got in SGA, I enjoyed every minute of the day. Um, I enjoy being an advocate for the students that are not able to speak for themselves. Uh, my main reason why I joined SGA was to show that, and Emily, you probably could relate, but to show students with disabilities can do more than have just a label. Or you're disabled. No, but there's many different paths that can go to being a disabled student. There's walking, but you can still talk. Talk, you can't talk, you still walk. You can show actions and everything that you show, you can show that you're more powerful than what a label that you're assigned to. Yes. Oh, by the way, I'm also a mentor for UMLP,
UMLP. Yep.
and unofficial mentor for UMLP, and a member of Creer Futuros.
With yours. Yeah.
They're all student services here, but we're here to help you guys out.
Thanks. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Yeah, you just reminded me. I was like, oh yeah, that's what, because those are things that I advocate for in student government is
I know. Yep.
disabilities, and then
And
also food, like the food
mhm.
choices on campus are not the best.
Yeah.
We all know it.
Mhm. Yep.
So
Yeah,
we are.
and if not to cut you off, Emily, but if the food choices are not okay for you, you always have the option of the food bank that you could visit and grab some groceries and basically just experiment yourself.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've been a regular customer of the food bank, and I haven't regretted it ever since. I always get more people to come there. I make sure every week I'm going, I get at least one or two people to go with me. Uh, that way I'm spreading the word. Um, it's a lot of services on campus that you could make use of, and this is free of charge to you. You don't have to pay nothing. Your
Yeah.
tuition already pays for it, so why not make use of it?
Mhm.
And you'll be surprised when you start looking. Just don't be that college student who comes to campus and goes to class and goes home. Like, I was that person, and now when I look back, I wish I had started earlier. Because now I'm like, I enjoy doing these things, but I don't have much time anymore. But yeah, if you're a junior, sophomore, start early. Start early. That way, you're getting the best you know of these services on campus.
Mhm.
Scholarships are available, Metro cards, the food bank is there, it saves you money on, groceries and whatnot. Uh, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. You just gotta look and you just gotta ask. and you'll find them. Yeah.
To that point, actually, I don't think a lot of people know this. The food bank was actually started by our leadership students in collaboration with student government. And so that kind of just shows like the power that the students on campus have. If it's something that you guys want, you make that voice, and the school does listen. So you just need to be able to speak up and know who to go to in student government, because this is literally their job. They're employed by the school to do this. They're considered public servants. They can help direct and document and whatnot. So not just issues, but like, hey, I really want to see a food bank. I really want to see, we're in the process of also doing multi-faith center on
Service.
campus. We've done a whole bunch of things on campus, and I think a lot of people don't realize that the work that we've put in throughout, especially the last few years, like especially going back to like the food on campus. We didn't have any cafeteria at first, but then actually like, we were in collaboration a little bit with like some of the food trucks, and we were telling them like, tell us your schedule, and like we'll actually like let the students know this is when at least food is nearby. Like during the pandemic, that was one of the things that we were doing, Instagram and things like that. Or we're currently like looking into like a ramen vending machine that has like vegan options, and I really want that machine. Or like trying to think of like other, like we did a whole bunch of different things, and it's because like we really know that these things are important to students for student success. So there was something else that I thought of before, and I don't remember. Something that you said, Abraham. Oh, if you want to join SGA,
They
you
can see
can
you.
totally join SGA. You go to that one website that well, Christian also put like the clubs, and then you go to like the forms and you apply, and you get a lot of experience from it because you are literally working in a public sector, essentially. And that's one of it's really good on your resume also. So one of the reasons I just got this position, I'm working in Senator Ruth's office, and one of the things they pointed out with was that it's because of my experience already in a public sector. That's one of the reasons why I got that position. So, and there I'm actually working on different policies and stuff like that. So they actually wanted me to create like a document, and I'm working on a no fault insurance claim thing, which connects with healthcare, which is one of my passions. And I'm getting that research experience through SGA that I'm now applying in this, senator's office that I'm interning at. So you get a lot of great experience through also joining. We should be having a special elections coming up next month. If it's too soon, you want to feel it out. I know there are some people that are freshmen here. Might want to wait like a year, join sophomore, and get a little bit more acclimated to the college so that you get familiar with the work that we do, come to our events and things like that. But we usually have elections for the whole year. It's called the annual elections in the spring. So if you pay attention to our social media through Club Central, you'll be able to see that and then be able to apply. You have to be elected in order to run in this position. We hold public elections because we're public servants. So yeah. Does anybody have any questions on SGA? Comments? Anything that you want to? I see a thank you for your service. Thank you for saying that. And I'm also wondering at the same time. Ooh, Is it John? John Soto? Ah, cool. I was wondering. Yeah, he was a good president.
Hi, John. Mhm.
Yeah, John was started out as a senator and then joined as a president. Still getting
Remember?
used to the college life. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, so if you have any questions in general about SGA, like I'm sure John would be able to answer anything for you too, because he's the president. But like you can feel more than welcome to like even ask in our WhatsApp group, you know. And you know, oh, you'll get it. You'll get it. It's a really good opportunity. I actually joined SGA. I joined as what Ibrahim is now, student services officer, because like at the time I was just like, I just want to help people. I wanted to volunteer. I was just all over the place. And then afterwards it's just like, oh, you get paid for this? Like, so that actually was like a gateway for me because at the time I was like, no, I was one of those stubborn people like, I don't want to be paid for helping people. That's my craziness. What are the requirements to be a member of SGA? That is a great question. So I don't know if I could pull it up because it might be good to show. Yes, I can pull it up. Okay, so let me do advanced portion of screen. So let me make it fit to size so it's a little easier to. All right, so yeah, here's some of our past projects. This QR code is inactive because this is the past. We just had special elections, but you need to be enrolled. It's right here in the requirements. You need to be enrolled in the college, getting credits. You need to have a minimum of like a certain amount of credits. So like if you're entering the college, you can't. So like freshmen, if you this is like your first semester, then you can't, you have to wait a little bit. And then they actually have you have to have a certain grade point average also in order to get into SGA and also stay in SGA. And then you have to we do have mandatory meetings every month as well. So one of the requirements is 10 hours per week. That's more suggestive. But if you are a senator, you're going to a minimum of at least 2 meetings every month. You go to college senate meetings, which is actually joined with the whole college for, different faculty and staff. And then you also have the SLA meetings. And then you also have the executive board meetings, which are, once a month, but they're all on Wednesdays during the college free hours at 3:45 p.m. they start. And, so, but there are things in between like volunteering for events and, certain officer positions, like we have a research officer and the research officer does like research to actually implement better things for the campus or, like, what does this really mean if we implement this in the committee and things like that. So just attending those things and, and whatnot. So I hope that answers your question. And let me just check. Ibrahim, actually, on a side note, are you in the student life building by any chance?
No, but I'm closer.
You're
You want me
close.
to do a run for you?
I'm thinking of making a call really quick. It does answer. Awesome. Ibrahim, can you talk a little bit more about SGA while I make a call to Patricia?
Sure, sure.
Thank you, thank you.
Um, so SGA. In addition to what Emily said, there's also officer reports. If you what's the name? Basically, the reports just talks about what you have done during the month, or yeah, what you've done during the month. Is a compilation of all the things that you've done as a SGA representative during the month. So you compile this in a document and then you submit it. It is an official document, and so um, we're not just there in the holding these titles, but actually doing work on ground. And so that's what the report is about. And we submit this report um, usually before the next meeting, before the next meeting that we hold as city board members. I know senators also do something like that.
Yeah.
Christian.
Yeah, I'm about to speak up
Yeah.
on that. So
Yeah.
senators and SLA, we do reports, but it's called committee reports. Like,
Okay.
yeah, we do similar as e-board senators, but we speak
Yeah.
solely on what committee are we in. As for me,
Mhm.
my committee was, whoo, it's been a minute
So
since I
we
sent that.
yeah we officers are also, for instance, I'm also on two committees. I'm on the auxiliary committee, and I'm also
Ah,
I think yeah, there's another committee as well that I'm in, and we go there, and basically it's all about college administration and what needs to be done, what has to be done, how it is going to be done, where we're going to pull the funding to do it. If we did pull funding, where did we pull it from? Stuff like that. But yeah, you basically get a lot of info into how the college is being run and how things are being, administered. SGA and SLA, we have the power to actually influence a lot of decisions on campus, from academics to student engagement, student life. Let's say what's the name? There are some
yeah,
classes that yeah, and this is an issue that we've been talking about in our past SGA e-board meetings as well. Uh, I think the community outreach officer, Jalen, also brought it up. It's about some math classes, and not just math specifically, but some classes are not being reported as a part of Gen Ed, but they are also needed to satisfy other requirements. And so it's like you have to double take them, which doesn't make sense, and so we're working to rectify that. Uh, Hopefully we come to a smooth resolution on that as well. But yeah, you see, it goes back to like help you guys that are coming in, the freshmen, the sophomore, and what you know. That way you don't have to take unnecessary classes that you don't really need to take. You understand? And it saves you a lot of money as
Thank you so much,
well.
Abraham and
oh,
Christian, for taking over.
You're welcome.
Um, so one of the reasons why I wanted to call Patricia is she was actually supposed to be facilitating this particular workshop, and I don't see her, but I know she's extremely busy today because we're doing election
Mhm,
stuff right now.
mhm. Yeah,
Um,
and also if you feel like you're not really ready, you're always welcome to volunteer. I know I did volunteer for the food bank and campus life for 2 semesters, right? Just to get a hang of, how things run. And then subsequently I was hired part-time, right? So these are like, opportunities you can take advantage of, right? You not only get the volunteer experience, but you could potentially get hired and make a few bucks for yourself. At least pay for your phone bill. Exactly. And buy a couple of donuts as well.
Mm.
Yeah, so you volunteer, and this semester as well, I'm also volunteering with UMLP, Clear and Clear Futuros, right? Yeah, before I
Hey,
get out.
Abraham, that's why I saw
Mhm.
you in the retreat photos, right?
Yep,
That's
that's
why.
why.
Why he there?
That's why, right? I've also been
Later.
volunteering with with the Mentor Collective program for about 3 years now. Since from my time in BCC, I was with the program. It's a first year freshman program that you get to help freshmen uh, navigate basically their first year in college, and it's a wonderful experience. You don't really have to do much, but some people want to be contacted like twice a week or twice a month, 3 times in a month. It basically depends on you. And I've had as many as 8 students a semester. You could have more, depending on how much you can handle. And all these, you can put on your resume and polish yourself up. You may not have so many experiences, but those could also count. And in bettering up your resume, and go take you a long way. So yeah, if you can volunteer, do it. It is very good to do it. Not only do you get to network, but you get to learn a lot as well.
Nice. Thank you, Ibrahim. I know that our next week's um intro speaker is coming from the IPC office as well. So
Mhm.
does anybody know IPC, what that means?
Mhm.
It's the International Programs and Community Engagement. So they do volunteering and they also do study abroad stuff. So we actually have I put it in our WhatsApp chat, but we have a volunteering opportunity coming up as well for their breast cancer awareness walk in Manhattan. So, and you could join team for it as well. But yeah,
Wonderful.
I know kind of related, but also side things. Right. On that note, I don't think Patricia's coming in today. So, um, on that note, on the spur of the moment, I'm going to facilitate, I guess, a little bit of the next introduction to leadership, exemplary leadership skill. We'll kind of breeze through it just because I did not know I was going to be presenting today. So anyway, so just to share my screen. All right, so um, continuing on, we've already, oh, hold up, it's showing portion. I want the full screen. There we go. Okay, so we already did model the way, inspire shared vision. Last week we did challenge the process. And so now we're doing enabling others to act. So when you work in a team, essentially, this is why SGA was like the perfect intro speaker for today. Because when you work on a team, you actually can help encourage people to actually, do service. And then you have greater numbers to actually implement things. Working in Senator John Liu's office right now, if one person complains about something, then, it's important, but when you have a whole bunch of people reporting the same thing, then it's going to take notice and then they're going to actually address something. But then actually giving people those tools of not just like saying, hey, I have this issue. It's actually giving people, hey, you can do something about this. So that's why I like using SGA again as an example of like, hey, you don't like the food choices on campus? you can do something about it. You can join SGA, go on these committees, you can do research on how this is affecting people and whatnot. Because then it actually builds strength in your shared common goals. And as you can see, also next week, we're going to be sharing, encouraging the heart. So how do you do this? And I'll share this as well in our Google Classroom as well. So, building trust among people. When you build trust, it not just builds, you know, good rapport, it actually helps them open up. And then you find out details of like, you know, oh, maybe this is one way we can address this issue, and this is one way to go about it and whatnot. Spending time to know your constituents and, you know, essentially what is making them, you know, what is their drive? What is their passion? What are they working towards? Because that is something that you can implement as well in how to address something. I like to use a lot of examples when I explain things. So like in the senator's office I'm interning at, one of the things is when I'm talking to people, one of the roles that I'm doing is I'm actually doing intake on calls, and I have to find out who they are, you know, the basic information, their contact information. But then also like, what have you done already to address this situation? Beautiful. Thank you. Ibrahim shared in the chat the LEH student service. Thank you. Actually, I'm going to download that and share it with the Google Classroom. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so going back to my example of like finding out those basic information, but then instead of being like, all right, you know, we'll take care of it, like being like, okay, well, what have you done already? You know, finding out those questions, like, have you already tried calling 311? Did you get a service number? Did you take pictures? And can you send those to us? And finding out those little details, because if they didn't do something, then maybe you could either suggest it and help advocate, have others advocate for themselves. But you won't know to do that unless you get these details and spending time to actually know what the problem is, what they've done, so that you can find exactly what they can do. I have so many notes in my internship. It's not even funny. It's like, this is possible A and B, things like that. So yeah, show concern of the problems and aspirations others have. So it feels nice to be heard. It feels, you know, just talking essentially is very healing. As someone that is, you know, indigenous descent, we call it medicine. It's good to talk about things as healing. And so when you feel acknowledged, then you feel like, yeah, you know, and then you can then talk more about your issues. And when you talk about things, then you can actually create solutions in talking through those things. And then finding other people that are just like, yeah, I have the same passions as you too. So that's part of it. Listen, listen, listen. As we've discussed in our first week of like, you know, that active listening, you want to listen more than you want to speak, because you find out knowledge that way. You're not going to know how to actually address things unless you're actually listening to people. So it's important as a main step, just whoever you're talking to, just hear them for what they're saying. And that can be also facilitated like by asking open-ended questions to find out more, get more information. Because the more information, like I said, the more information you have, the more then you will be able to then say, oh, maybe this is a way we can go about it, or, you know, whatnot. That's also a good way in counseling. How counseling works is that you never want to suggest things that are just like, oh, have you done this, you know, in a certain way, because they've heard already solution, you know, people have, you know, tried to offer solutions to them. They already hear those things. What counseling really does is it actually is a way for you to ask these open-ended questions so that then they can actually have that self-realization, and then they know, a better path of way to actually go towards that, towards what they're trying to accomplish. Number 5, structure projects so that there is a common goal. It's one thing to be like, okay, we want to do this. We want better options on campus. We want more food. That's nice that, we have an end goal, but how are we going to get there? Well, maybe we could, have one person in the group do a survey. How do students, feel about this? Maybe it's not just us. So maybe at events we can, do surveys, and this is how we're going to structure it, and we collect that data. And then maybe someone else can actually do research. What are other campuses doing? And so actually coming up with a plan instead of saying like, this is what we want and, whatnot, can actually give better guidance in actually achieving that goal and spreading it out. And when you enable other people to act, to do these things, it's helping the group, but it's also helping themselves, because they also at the same time achieve those goals, those soft skills in doing certain projects. As someone who loves helping people, I would always want to do things like, and this is like a lot of people in SG have heard this like time and time again of just like, oh, but I could do this and just want to help this person. But you're not really helping your teammates if you're doing everything. So by enabling them to act like, hey, can you, delegating, hey, can you help me with this? Like, I'm really struggling with coming up with like this research thing or event planning. Can you maybe contact this vendor for me and I'll do this other thing on this side? By doing things like that, they're actually gaining those skills, which will help them in the future. And like, I had to change my mindset a little bit of that, because I was doing everything, and then that causes burnout and things like that. But it's not just not helping me, it's not helping other people as well. So that's a big part of enabling people to act. It's understanding that and actually giving people that power so that they can help themselves. And then number 6, find ways to get people together face-to-face or virtually. So one of the big things also kind of through SGA, and actually through this workshop, we had the pandemic, and so we switched to online. It's a viable way of actually getting to connect with people and learning and stuff like that. It's a tool, and tools are utilized in how you use them. So if you can't get people together, do virtual. You could do high flex. Whatever high flex actually stands for highly flexible. It's giving people that power so that they can be able to connect. Some people do better in person, like the people that are just like, my house is just too noisy, or like, I don't have good internet access. We want to be able to make it more inclusive and equitable. So being able to actually hear it kind of goes back, all these things intersect, but going back to like, how is this best so that we can actually connect with people, so that we can hear, talk to people and hear people and whatnot. So how to strengthen others to succeed. Listening is a good point. But then also understanding what resources each individual needs in order to be successful. And sometimes this is assessing like what resources they already have. So another thing, a lot of people that know me, I'm like all over the place. So one of the things that I'm also doing is I'm a research assistant at Lehman College. And one of our first exercises was to actually say what are some soft skills that we have? What are some, resources? What are we good at? And so like for me, I was like, oh, I have training in shorthand. I have, social media, training, upskilling. And then as a team, we were actually able to determine, okay, so a resource that I don't have is, being able to travel and things like that. So who else in the team can actually can help assist in sharing like what they've done or how I can be able to access that stuff. So not just for individuals, but as the group as well, because we're not just trying to focus on like helping individually. Like when you're developing skills, you're developing all areas of you, academically, personally, professionally, and as the team. So and being able then to share those resources with other people so that they can succeed. Increasing those tools to empower people to act, and then also providing training and coaching. Mentoring is extremely powerful. Just showing that extra support to someone can actually help them, start learning these things and getting out of their shell and like being like, oh, well, sometimes people are like too embarrassed to say like, oh, I have trouble asking for help. But making a place psychologically safe, they call it in like leadership, making the environment, like positive environment so that people want to be there, and that boosts, there's a lot of studies that show that boosts production and things like that, that can actually help benefit as well so that they can do that. How to demonstrate trust, provide people with opportunities to make decisions. So when people, this is actually something that kind of corresponds with one of my classes in management. When you have shared decisions in a business place, it actually can show people that they actually have purpose in their job and what they're doing. It's actually more important than even financial gains. People will stay with jobs if they feel that they're contributing and making a difference, and having a say in those decisions. So that's one big part of it in making a positive environment. And people, if you come up with like suggestions and like it's always like, knocked down and things like that, people aren't going to want to stay. They don't feel important. So having an environment where you do that is essential for success and demonstrating trust. Do not weigh in first at large decisions. Give others the opportunity to decide. So part of being a leader and doing this, a lot of people that have worked with me in this call, a lot of times when we're working in groups, I tend to sit back because I want people to be able to like have their creative juices flowing and being like, because, the leader, the, authoritative leader doesn't always know everything. A lot of times they don't, like, we're all people. So, being able to like hear people and have them be able to explore those options. And then one of the things I always say too, like when I was an undergrad, like anthropology was my major, and like humans are not any smarter than we were hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago. What has actually made us evolve so quickly, like in modern day era, is because we've built upon each other's ideas in collaboration. Technology is basically different ideas for improvement. We've built upon those things. So giving people that platform, one person says something, and then that might spur another person to be like, oh, that's a great idea, and we can maybe do this. And it just goes, spirals, and it gets better and better. And you can improve upon things and think like, oh, pros and cons and things like that. And then allowing people to tackle problems differently than you would. There's no, I changed the saying a little bit of there's no wrong way to pet a cat. So, um, you know, everybody does their own thing, their own way, and that's a beautiful thing. It's, because if things were exactly the same across the board, then things would be boring. Things wouldn't be, addressing inclusivity where, one person might do something totally different. So yeah. Oh, thank you, Shizzy. Yeah, I have so much experience. I'm old. It's my birthday coming up. It's the day before our next workshop. I'm going to be turning 40. And I like telling people my age at this point because it's like, you're not 40. And it's like, yes, I am. I have 40 years of experience. And that is actually something, now that I mentioned that, we're all experts in our own field. We have a lifetime of experiences. So we all, tying back into, you know, there's more than one way to tackle something. You know, if we have somebody that, like, you know, has, you know, an artist, you know, what makes them, you know, it's the whole hierarchical thing. If they've been doing years, 20 years, 30 years of art, you know, I'm going to listen to the artist, you know, if I want to be doing an art project or whatnot, because they have that experience. You know, just because, you know, you have like a certain expertise in one thing, like you want to listen to that person. So, even if you don't have a degree, you have so much experience in something. So yeah. So, I think that's the main gist though of enabling other people to act. So on that, we're at 4 o'clock. And we're going to switch over to our public speaking aspect. And like I mentioned earlier, let me do a share portion of screen just to talk about this a little bit. We're going to go a little early, as mentioned, just so you guys have more time to practice for the next workshop. But this is what we're doing now. We'll do this for about 15 minutes and then we'll call it a day. But practice, take a screenshot or a picture of this. This is just, you know, things that if you want to discuss this, these are prompts in breakout groups that you want to do. If you are listening at home asynchronously while doing this, I encourage you to speak with somebody in your house or friends or in a group. If you go to a college event, to maybe come up with, you know, some of these things to find out. This is kind of exploring like what's important to you, what you want to go towards. Full transparency, I got this from Basilia Toussaint from the Career Center. And this is their basics of how to do a elevator pitch. So we have that. And to answer a question, is this the prompt for the speech for next week? This can be, if you so choose. Next week, share the challenge now, is you will be, so right now you're just, you know, going into chat rooms, really, you know, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, and just talking, maybe 2 minutes each person, you know, just things that you like, essentially, to kind of explore what you'll be doing for your speech next time. Next Monday, we do not have class. It is a holiday. College is closed. So we will be meeting the next Monday after that. So you have time to write your speech. Utilize all the skills that you've learned in this class, practice. You'll be preparing a 3 to 5 minute speech on something that you are passionate about. Something that you're learning, anything that you want, something that you want the world to know. If you are interested in going and learning about doing a TED Talk, applying for that, this can be a good draft to see, how it flows and whatnot. You have some options for your final speech, because everybody's in their own, they're starting, in their own place. And we have people joining asynchronously as well. I will be making available a place where you can upload it if you want to record it. If you're in that space, you can do that. You can practice. You can actually do your speech in the last part of the class, or you can go to the Student Life building and request for a virtual headset. Which you will see Patricia. I'll put her contact information in the Google Classroom, and you can actually schedule to practice in there, and she'll make note of it and send me the information that you actually did that. So there's 3 different ways you can actually practice. You could do all of them if you want, but yeah, so there's that. So let me unshare. And on that note, let me do breakout rooms. And yeah, are there any other questions related to, and also just more of a side note, for attendance, which I'll put the attendance.
I had a question. Wait, can you let me see? I'm trying to fix.
What was that, David? I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I just had one question about the presentation. When was it? It's going to be 2 weeks from now?
Yes, it'll be the 21st.
Gotcha. All right.
And then what exactly are we doing in the breakout groups? So in the breakout groups, just have a conversation. Just talk to people. Just talk about like, hey, like I have an idea for this speech, or if you don't know like what you want to actually speak about, you can go over those prompts. Let me go back. Yeah, so things I'm good at, a project or accomplishment that I'm most proud of, my career activities, yeah, things of that nature, things that you think would be interesting to share with other people. And I'll also put it in the WhatsApp as well. Not the WhatsApp, the Google Classroom for the prompts for the speech if you need more help with that too. And on that note, I'm also putting attendance form in the chat. When you do the attendance form, as you probably know, the first part of it is what you've learned, you know, a reflection on intro to leadership, and then there's one in public speaking. And because this is more of an exercise, sometimes when we actually have hands-on things doing those things, you can actually reflect on that. Like, oh, I didn't realize that this is important to me, or, you know, that this was harder for me to come up with these things. And then I'll actually be actively looking at these things so that if you do have some issues or questions, I'll be reaching out to you before your speech for the 21st is due. So that way we can address some of those things then. Right. On that note, I'm gonna try to do breakout rooms. I'm not gonna assign automatically how many people. I'm gonna assign 4 rooms. We have 20 people. Okay. Oh, I guess it is assigning people automatically. All right. So, all right. So we'll have until 4:15-ish, 4:20.